Yeah, and the part to me that's so interesting hearing you talk about that is it literally is when you are laying on your deathbed, what would you regret? And
Hmm.
almost making decisions to minimize regret, right? And I think that it might be Jeff Bezos who has this thing of like when he wants to make a big decision, he fast forwards to when he's 80 and then looks at the decision in reverse and is
Mm.
like, which path should I have taken? Right. And what you're describing is very similar. And so to me, it's just when you convert, there's a term that I recently heard called time billionaires. And this guy, Graham Duncan, used it on a Tim Ferriss podcast. And then a guy, Blake Robbins on Twitter, was sharing it. And when I heard this, it just blew my mind. It's the whole idea that, like, when we talk about billionaires, right? Like, Zuby, you want to be a billionaire? You'd be like, hell yeah. We think in dollars, right? Or,
Hmm.
or euros or whatever. It's like it's a monetary measurement, and we assign great power and influence and resources to people who are quote unquote billionaires, but the
Hmm.
currency billionaire. Well, actually, if you were to put, let's say, you or me and Warren Buffett, and I said to you, Zuby, I'll give you all of Warren Buffett's money, but you have to trade lives with him. You have to be 90 years old. You wouldn't do it.
No
You
way.
wouldn't do it, right? Because
Nope.
you actually value your time and your youth more than you value the billions and billions of dollars because you can't enjoy it,
Yep.
right? And so you're actually wealthier than him when you flip from measuring in a currency to a time. So
Mm.
this idea of time billionaire is a million seconds is 11 days and a billion seconds is 31 years.
Mm.
So when you start thinking that, okay, if you are 20, you probably have 2 billion seconds left in your life, give or
Okay.
take,
Yeah.
right? You've got about 62 years. By the time that, medicine, whatever, you'll probably live to be about 100 years old.
Hmm.
If you are 30 today, you've got at least a billion. If you're 50, you might still have a billion seconds left,
Yeah.
right? So you're a time billionaire. But we never think or ascribe power or influence or value to time. We only do it to money. And so
Hmm.
when you pull that into like the investing world, it's like, hey, you can either have billions of dollars or you can have billions of seconds. Which one's more valuable? It
Hmm.
actually depends on how you use it. Right. And so if you don't have billions of dollars, like that's a pretty binary, like either you do or you don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone who's young, you definitely have billions of seconds. So like use that to your advantage, take the long time horizon when you invest, like blah, 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 whatever. And so to me, like when you start thinking in terms of time or regret, you literally change the decisions you make. You change the activities you do, right? And actually, I'm willing to bet that you and I have lived more fulfilled lives because we think in that way compared to people who go every day before the pandemic. They sat in their cubicle. They were kind of in the rat race. Oh, 5 o'clock. Oh, 5:01. I can leave work now. They got in their car. They stopped at the grocery store. They went home. They had dinner. They went to sleep. They woke up, drank bad
It's okay. It's
coffee, right?
okay.
And went to work, right? And so it's like, again, if that makes you happy, like go do that. But
Yeah.
actually,
Yeah.
what you find is most of those people are not happy.
Mm.
And so it's like, go live the fulfilled life. Like, who cares?
Mm.
And I think that that's just it's a view of the world that takes belief in yourself, right? Like when you left your job, you had to believe you could actually go do it,
Yeah.
or you wouldn't have left.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you can teach that to people, if it's an environment thing or what, but I do think that it is probably one of the greatest gifts in life is to understand you are the most powerful person in your world and you can go do whatever you want to do. Sounds super cliche, but the reason why it's a cliche is because literally it is true
Yeah.
and you can go and do it.
And because very few people actually do it. I think people talk about it. People talk about it, follow your passion, chase your dream. You can do whatever you want. You can be what you want to be. Everybody says it, but the percentage of people who actually do it to any real degree is probably under 10%.
Of
Probably
course.
under 10%. Yeah.
And here's the craziest part to me is what it takes to do what you did, right? You don't have to tell the stories, but
Mhm.
I already know on a 9-10 year journey, whatever it's been, there's been times where you were like, uh-oh, like, like, dang, did I make the right decision? I
Yeah.
was getting paid pretty nice doing that management consulting stuff. Like,
Yeah. I'll disclose something right here. So keep in mind, I left my job in November 2011. Right now we are in December 2020. Last year was the first year that I made more money self-employed than I used to make in my old job. So for anyone who, because especially being a rapper, people think like, oh, all musicians just have money falling out the sky or whatever. Last year was the first year. It took me 8 years just to get to the level where I was making as much. And this year is the first year where I've made more than I would have done, not just then, but more than I would have done even if I'd climbed the corporate ladder to what the position I probably would have been in. So that's some real talk.
It is incredible when you say it now and people are like, man, that guy's awesome. Like, look what he did 3 years ago when you were thinking like, ooh, could have been making a lot more money, doing this other, like, what was like, I get it. Right. And so it's just like, how many people are willing to jump? There's a small number, but even worse than that are how many people are willing to jump and then get 6 months in and go back to the job.
Put some respect on my name. Sick like